Hello and welcome to the FF News series on how to build a bank. And joining me here today, I have Ben from nCino. Ben, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Absolutely brilliant. I'm really excited to find out how you guys at nCino would build a bank. And Ben, for our audience, would you be able to tell us a bit more about yourself, your role, and what nCino do?
Yeah, absolutely. I head up our business development function within EMEA. That's a nice way of saying our job is to go out there and start conversations with financial institutions. So we work with banks, with startup financial institutions, with sort of alternative funders, looking at ways in which we can help them modernize their architecture, help them make those really difficult transformation decisions, and help them along the way in that journey to look at rethinking how a bank should run and how to really optimize the talent of the people you have in the bank with the technology that we provide.
Absolutely amazing. And I really do think that we've had so much infrastructural change that even banks still are struggling to get their heads around it. So it's fascinating to hear how you guys would tackle it. And as is the start of our series, I want to ask you, how at nCino would you guys create a bank for SMEs?
It's a good question. So we've been lucky enough to have quite a lot of experience within how do you set up a bank in the first place. We work with customers like Recognize and Synergy and the likes, Oak North, Bank North, who've all aimed at this aspiration of how do you take the SME sector and provide financial services for that particular sector. The great thing about the sector is there's a lot of new entrants into it that actually look at it from the angle of they're run generally by individuals who've worked in larger organizations, who've worked in old, cumbersome, old financial institutions who are brought down by legacy tech and have all the sort of bureaucracy around them. And so you have a lot of people in that world who actually want to try and make a difference for SMEs and want to provide them with a better service. I think what we've realized, there's a lot of chat around the industry about do we buy it, do we build it, what's off the shelf, is BaaS, SaaS, all these different things.
Don't forget PaaS.
Don't forget PaaS. Or EAS, which is almost impossible to say. I think there's a happy medium somewhere in there, which is looking at the technology providers out there, but not looking at it just as I'm buying technology, right? I think when we look at change and transformation within older financial institutions, a lot of the thought process that you actually have to bring in when you're looking at how do you build an SME is the same way. You have to look at it not just as I'm going to buy some technology and set up a bank. It actually has to start at the center from a cultural standpoint insofar as what is my bank actually going to stand for and what am I going to provide.
Interesting.
Right?
An actual mission.
Exactly. And I think, we can touch on this a bit later about missions and why they matter so much within financial services as we speak in 2023 as it is now. But I think what we've noticed is whereas there was always this argument about, should we buy it, should we build it? If we want to build it, how do we build it? If we buy it, who's the best vendor? I think where the winners come out is buying is the right thing to do because it enables you to take things off the shelf and start quickly and get the basic plumbing right to start with.
Yeah.
But then when you start thinking about what is the reason that an SME would like to come and bank with me in the first place? What is my differentiating factors? That's where you actually have this ability to actually think about, what could I build on top of what I'm buying? And I think that's an interesting thing because the world of just sort of, I'm just going to buy everything and stand everything up, or the world of, I'm going to build everything that's going to cost me a fortune, but I'm going to make this really cool thing. I think there's a hybrid model within that actually. That if you look at the likes of the Recognizers of the world and of the Oak Norths of the world and the ThinkCats of the world, that's very much where they're aiming at, that's how they're differentiating themselves by using best-in-class technology to support their vision, and then augmenting that with their own technical capability on top of that.